We have Bernadette, one of our new members on Zoom. Welcome, Bernadette.
Thank you.
We have Judy with us. We have Sandy with us. We have Tom with us, who is also a new member joining COA. We have Cheryl. We have Natalie, who is also a new member of COA. And we have Ann Forsman. So that is the roll call for this morning. I guess we can start off. We have no visitors. And I guess we can start off with Karen on financial budget reports.
Did you have any minutes that needed to be approved?
We do not.
Okay. All right, I'll come on over there. Before we get started on budgets, I just want to inform all the new members that the process of your approval by the Board of, so what happens is the Council on Aging recommends to the Board of Selectmen, and then the Board of Selectmen appoints, and you all were appointed. I can't remember the date right now, but it was at one of the meetings, and the executive assistant to the town administrator generally sends you a letter saying that you were appointed. She has been out quite a bit lately, so she apologizes for not getting your letters to you. But she did send me an email saying that you can go ahead and go to the town clerk's office and get sworn in if you haven't yet. Okay, and then once that's done, once I get the letters from her, I will also be sending you a letter. Okay, another thing is I know that Mr. Davis already has a guide for Council on Aging board members. Bernadette, I'll have one for you here if you want to come pick it up at your convenience.
Sure.
I will give you one as well. I think that's it for now. Since you aren't sworn in yet and you cannot vote at this meeting. You've been sworn in? Okay, Tom's been sworn in. And Natalie has as well. So Bernadette, you need to go get sworn in.
I'll do that today if I can.
Awesome, great. All right, I just, that's all I have there. I just wanted to let you guys know why things were a little wonky. All right, next was budget. So I'm trying to stay away from everybody as much as I can so that I can keep my mask off while I'm talking. However, I'm going to pass out copies of the budget and the cover sheet and another piece of paper, and I'll explain the third piece of paper later. So Bernadette, you don't have these, but I'll try to discuss them in a way that makes sense to you.
Sure.
All right. There we go. You already have it, but let's make sure everybody has a current and updated version. You're welcome. And I'm going to pull my chair over here. So since we have 3 new members, I'm going to just give kind of, excuse my back. I'm just going to give you guys kind of an overview on how the Council on Aging is funded. So the town funds, obviously, the majority of our operating expenses, and that's through the municipal budget, which is what I just handed you. Then we get just shy of $17,000 from the state, which is called the formula grant. The formula grant is based on the number of seniors in a municipality from the 2010 census. They are hoping that for the next budget, it will be able to be based on the 2020 census, which will more than double the amount we get, because our senior census has increased that much. And then we get a variety of grants, and we have our we have a donation account from people who sometimes leave us things in their wills, or just send us donations. Most of the donations that come to the senior center, however, are given to our nonprofit, the Friends of the Townsend Seniors, because anytime money comes into the senior center itself, it is managed by the town. But with a nonprofit, we have a little more flexibility. And we use most of that money for programs and miscellaneous items, supplies for things, and not things like office supplies or computers, and definitely not for things like salaries. The formula grant does pay for one of our salaries right now. It pays for the volunteer coordinator. And we are also in the process of hiring a kitchen assistant at 7 hours a week, but it's listed as a per diem, which is an on-call position, because we anticipate that the need for that person will increase over next year. All right, and that position will be paid for by the formula grant as well. Are you thoroughly confused yet? Okay, so the cover sheet that I have sent out, and I will email or have for you also, Bernadette, just gives you a basic, it gives our mission statement, the basic description of the department, and our hierarchy or family tree, how we are run, okay? Shows who's in charge of who. So prior to COVID-19, we had steadily between 45 and 60 active volunteers in the senior center. So, and we're going to be building that up again, obviously, as we go. The next page of the second page of the cover sheet shows what our accomplishments were for last year and what we've accomplished so far this year, and how many full-time employees we have. All right, so that, oh, I forgot one of our grants, one of our big grants. Our transportation services are provided by the Lowell Regional Transit Authority, lovingly known as the LRTA, and the grant from them is just over $70,000. That pays for all of our transportation employees, plus Ms. Howard has been here for 20 years. So she has quite the hefty fringe benefits, and they pay for all of her fringe benefits, which is just shy of $20,000. So they're a saving grace for us, and they respect the people that we have on board with them. Donna Howard is actually our transportation administrator and lead van driver, and she is also on the LRTA Advisory Council. So we've got a gem with her. Pardon? She's earning more than her money, because she only makes a little over $16 an hour after 20 years. So we will go on from there. Don't get me started. But I am going to talk about salaries in a little bit. All right, let me get my glasses because the print is very small. I did just adjust her. Thank you. I'm official. All right, so the budget that we get to work with is pretty much always the same. Let me just see if I can discuss this in a way that Bernadette can follow it without having it in front of her. At the last couple of COA meetings, I believe, we talked about the fiscal year 22 budget a lot. And the Council on Aging approved, even though we were requested to submit a level funded budget this year, we made the case that the Council on Aging through COVID has recognized our needs and the needs of the community. And we actually submitted a reorganized / required budget and pled our case. So we actually are asking for just shy of $20,000 more this year than we had last year. The biggest reason for that is that we recognize that our outreach coordinator position needs to be reorganized and revamped. I'm trying not to say anything bad. We need somebody that has an outreach or a social work background in that position. And so while our staff is amazing, and I cannot tell you how much we have helped each other through this last year and how much work we have done, we are going to do some reorganizing and work with the town administrator on how to do that most effectively. Not being a private business, there are ways that when we reorganize, we can't just say, okay, you're going to be in this position. We have to jump through a few hoops to do that. But Janet Cody, who is our current outreach coordinator at 15 hours a week, will be made the volunteer coordinator. Still 15 hours a week. Her duties will just be a little bit different. And I am in the process of rewriting the job descriptions. Katie Petrossi, who is our program coordinator, I know you know her well, Bernadette. Mm-hmm. We are promoting her to assistant director / program coordinator. She will get some more hours. She will be trained as a Shine counselor, which I believe you know what a Shine counselor is. It's the person who does all the counseling for Medicare and insurance options and stuff like that. And the person who currently does it for us is not going to be able to do it much longer. So a lot of councils on aging are training actual staff members. In the past, you could not have a staff member be a Shine counselor, but they're not getting enough volunteers to do it. It's quite a lot of information. So they are allowing outreach coordinators and directors and such to do that. Yep.
I think one of the things that's really important to understand is that this past year with COVID has tremendous challenges been placed on the staff here. Loss of volunteers and trying to address all the things that came about. But I think the biggest learning curve that we realized in that year was the resources and tools that we did not have to try to address the issues that confronted all of our seniors and our residents. And that's what this reorganization is greatly part of, is recognizing where we couldn't provide the services at the level we wanted to. And that's why we're asking for these changes, so that, God forbid, anything like this ever happen again, but we'll be much better positioned to handle these things. So the staff has done an incredible job, because this is virgin territory for everybody. I've never dealt with anything like this before. But we did identify things that we needed to do better and things that we weren't able to provide. And that's why we've really tried to do a budget and reorganization so we'd be in a much better place should something like this ever occur again. I just wanted to throw
Very well put, Jim. Thank you. That was a good summary. Anyways, so long story short, the Board of Selectmen and FinCom have both approved our budget, and it will be moving forward. Another good reason to do this now is because we are getting our addition. I'm hoping they break ground in May, and I'm hoping they'll be done by October. So we'll see how that goes. But if any of you have any questions on the budget, please don't hesitate to contact me. Another thing that came out of recent budget discussions, is a thing called the Collins Report. So last year, actually I think it started in 2019, the town hired a group called the Collins Institute to go over salaries and rewrite the pay matrix for the town employees. The current Board of Selectmen has voted to implement the Collins report, which means that I think all town employees will get some sort of a raise. A lot of it depends on where they were compared to other people doing their same jobs in the region, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you will see some significant increases in some people's pay when the budget is presented at town meeting. And I just wanted to make you aware of that's why it is. So the budget that our budget is going to be different from this one because it will have the Collins report implemented by the town administrator and board of selectmen. And I don't know all of those numbers, so I can't put that in here. But it will be, I believe, quite a bit more. The salaries will go up. And I believe the union, we have unions now too. So there's a supervisory union and a clerical union that affect the Council on Aging. Currently, I am the only member of the Senior Center Council on Aging who is in the supervisory union. When Katie gets the assistant directorship, she will probably be included in that union as well. Currently, she is in the clerical union along with Donna Fenton, our kitchen manager, and Donna Howard. So we have 2 employees who are not in a union, and that is Janet, the outreach coordinator, and Sue, the assistant program coordinator. And that's because they are both 15-hour, they're fractional employees. They're both 15-hour employees. All right, so is that enough for you to chew on? All right. So the last page you will see there, and that's the reason I brought up the Collins report. And I just want to tell you why that's there, because you may hear some rumblings around town. These are the towns that the Collins report compared everybody to were Ayer, Groton, Harvard, Lancaster, Littleton, Lunenburg, and Pepperell. And when I first saw the first version of our budget, and the town administrator said that my salary had been adjusted to the Collins report, I kind of, for lack of a better word, blew a gasket. Because the regional directors all talk to each other. We all know what each other makes and everything. Well, the regional average, Bernadette, is $70,324 a year for Council on Aging director. I make $49,709. So I addressed this fact with our town administrator, and he did find an error in the Collins report. So one of the salaries you're going to see go up is going to be mine. Still doesn't bring me up to the average or the mean, but I'm that's fine. As long as I'm being recognized, I'm fine with that. So just want to let you know. Okay, that's it on the budget. Any questions, concerns? No? All right. It's been a while, and when you look back on the Board of Selectmen meetings, I think it was actually the last meeting where they said, you will see major increases for people who have been consistently underpaid for many years. And my understanding, I don't have a copy of the signed union contract yet, but my understanding is that the increases for the union employees will be retroactive to the last signed contract, which was 2019. All right. Next. What do we have? The expansion gift update.
I am fully vaccinated, by the way, just now.
The whole staff is. Yeah, I think most of us are, so that's good. And we'll talk about the protocols for in here when we get to the reopening plan. All right, the expansion update. For those of you who don't know, the Mr. Anonymous Donor has graciously offered to give us approximately 2,000 square foot expansion to the senior center. Thank you very much to him and his corporation. And there was a lot, I mean, the Board of Selectmen approved it in November 2019. And it's been kind of held up by COVID and this and that and the other. There were a lot of employee changes at Town Hall and stuff like that. But the good news is there was a hearing with the planning board to go through and ask some questions, and then with the Zoning Board of Appeals. And on April 27th is the last day people can appeal either of those, and I'm hoping to see some groundbreaking after that. It's going to be off of the arts and crafts room and kitchen. That whole grass area is going away. It's going to be basically another meeting hall and an office. It will have a divider available to the big room, just like the meeting hall does. And then there's going to be a patio for outdoor dining and things. They're calling it a bocce court, for lack of a better word. They were like, what are we gonna call this thing? Place for playing cornhole, badminton, whatever. But I think with especially the way, me being a native New Mexican, one thing that always impresses me in Massachusetts and New Hampshire in the springtime is how everybody just goes out and celebrates the sun coming out. Because in New Mexico, it happens all the time, so you just take it for granted. So I think having outdoor dining and the ability to do things outdoors more is really nice. So we're all very grateful to them for that. So that being said, until the construction is complete, we won't be able to use that side of the building. So our plan through the summer is just to keep programs pretty low key, do whatever we can outside. The Friends of the Seniors got an event tent last year through COVID money, and we'll be putting that back up probably next couple of weeks. And then the Friends are also making kind of a little bistro area out by the entrance. That'll be done next week. So we'll be able to do as much as we can outside and then utilize the meeting hall as much as possible. Technically, we share the meeting hall with the library since they have been closed and not having any in-house programs. We've had full run of the meeting hall, and I'd like to thank them very much for allowing that. They will probably start using the meeting hall a little bit in the summer, so we have to coordinate with them on that. But we have monthly programming meetings with them, and we're gonna play nice. We do a good job of playing nice with the library. We're a good group. All right, any questions on the expansion addition? All right. Xbox? Yep, I did.
We have a town meeting.
Town meeting, last I heard they want to have town meeting in town hall at a reduced quorum. I think, let me know if I'm wrong. And then I've heard that they are going to vote to maybe move it outside on a Saturday, the following Saturday or something. So it's going to be, I'm trying to remember, I don't even remember the date, May 4th?
I thought there was something though about the government will allow outside meetings.
Yeah.
Maybe something, I believe.
I think the first meeting is Tuesday, May 4th, and then they're going to try to continue it to the following Saturday, somewhere here. I did see an email with Stacy asking if they could have it outside the library. So, and more to come on that, but as always, I appreciate the community support. Ed? Okay, so actually we did reopen the 1st of April. I met with the Board of Selectmen and got their blessing to reopen the 1st of April. And just for limited programming, as long as we had strict protocol in place. Of course, as always, this whole COVID thing is a moving target. Everything changes all the time. But as of now, every participant must call to sign up for activities in advance. There's no walk-ins. Masks are continued to be required. All those entering the building will be asked the screening questions before their program. There is no loitering within the building. Whatever anybody wants to do outside, that's their choice. There's one way in and one way out. You come in through the senior center doors and out through the meeting hall doors. Programs will be conducted outdoors as weather permits. All programs will be set up with strict applicable social distancing in mind. Plexiglass partitions will be used as needed. No food will be allowed to be consumed within the building. All participants should bring their own water in an enclosed bottle. Staff will clean thoroughly before and after programs. Bathrooms will be sanitized after each program. So we do have somebody that comes in every day and fogs the place. So if you notice the windows are filmy, it's because of that. We try to keep up on it, but it doesn't happen. We're continuing with Meals on Wheels deliveries, of course, as we have throughout. And as far as meals go, we're just still doing the Donna's Drive-In Diner. We are, however, transitioning to maybe some small outdoor meal activities and other grab and go type things. I believe in May we have a brunch planned, a grab and go brunch. But as things progress, we will slowly have more congregate meals. And we will continue our virtual programming. Those programs aren't, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say this. Our watercolor virtual program has been full this whole time. We have some people that have done the chair exercise and the senior fitness, and the writing group has been attended by every time. So we're going to continue those because some people really need those virtual programs, and we've got all the stuff to do it, so we might as well do it. So one of the, and the van services, right now we're only allowing 2 passengers at a time on the van. However, that is going to be changing at least by the 1st of June, if not before. So one of the biggest questions we were getting about reopening was whether or not, number one, we can require people to be vaccinated. And number 2, whether or not we can ask people if they've been vaccinated. So I contacted town council, and he called me, one of the guys, Mr. Castro, called me and said, thank you for opening the Pandora's box. And we talked for quite a while about what people's concerns were, what our plans were, and everything. And I will not read this whole finding to you, 5-page finding by town council, but I will read you some highlights. I mean, some of you have been in the medical fields and stuff, as you can well imagine, we cannot ask if people have been vaccinated. That's a violation. It's not really a HIPAA violation, but it's close. So they request that we do not ask anybody. They can tell us, and we can say, hey, we can't ask you, but you can tell us. Because that could, any limitation of anybody participating could be seen as discrimination. Okay, and so you get into lots of gray areas there. The only way that we could ask somebody to, and this is probably not going to happen, is if they come in here really sick. And this is why we have to ask everybody, whether they've been vaccinated or not, all of the questions, because the questions are the symptoms. If somebody came in here really sick and they said, but I've been vaccinated, well, that doesn't mean you can't still be sick, you know? And then they are posing a direct threat to the health and safety of others. And in that case, we can ask them to leave, and it would not be discriminatory, okay? So even so, relying on symptoms or appearance of symptoms, there's a lot of gray areas there. So we just need to ask everybody all the time. And I know people get really tired, you know, even their bus drivers come in, they go, no, 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 no. We're like, okay, guys, at least take a breath between no's, you know. And we do keep track of everybody who comes in here with our My Senior Center. Hi, Beth. We've already talked about the expansion. Do you have any updates?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, good morning. Sorry
Morning.
for joining so late. Yes, I just, on Friday, I submitted the decisions for both the planning board and the ZBA to the town clerk. And at this point, there's 20-day appeal period, but everything looks great. Everything's signed, sealed, and delivered. So we're moving along fantastic.
So that starts 20 days from Friday?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe sometime in May. We were
Yeah.
just wondering about that.
Oh, yeah. That's all wrapped up and good to go.
They're asking who's talking. It's Beth Faxon. She works with the ZBA and planning board. And so thank you for filing that and everything.
Oh, you're very welcome. Excellent.
Good. We were just talking about the legal brief we got about reopening and stuff. So I will continue.
Yeah.
So, and then another question I had was whether, so a lot of our programs are run by independent contractors. Whenever you have a program in here like massage or the senior fitness program, or we used to have a manicure pedicurist that came here. We actually found a replacement. Yay. All of those people are independent contractors, and as independent businesses, they can require that people be vaccinated to participate in their quote program. But so far, they're just deferring to whatever we're doing, so that's good. Let's see. So in summary, the Town Council advises that the Council on Aging refrain from prohibiting entry to unvaccinated patrons. However, the Council on Aging may lawfully screen patrons for COVID-19 symptoms before allowing them to participate, so long as it screens all patrons, both vaccinated and unvaccinated. All right, the next big question was, we have a 12-passenger van. Do people in the van have to be vaccinated, and what are the criteria for the van? Because right now we're requiring maximum of 2 people and they have to be on opposite corners of the van. All right. Basically, Mr. Costa got in touch with the Lowell Regional Transit Authority and the MBTA, which is the overseer of the transit authorities. All passengers are required to wear a face mask prior to entering the bus and while on the bus. That means that nose and mouth must be completely covered. There is no eating or drinking allowed on the bus. Blah, 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 all the usual. Cannot be a scarf or a ski mask or a neck gaiter, a bandana, et cetera, et cetera. But there is no limit. If those are followed, there is no longer a limit to how many people can be on the bus. So one of the big reasons we asked that was because we would like to start doing some limited programs, like some of the outdoor summer concerts and stuff like that. So from what I'm reading on here, we can fill the bus. I doubt if the bus would be full, because from what we are seeing since being opened, and this is something that I think we definitely need the outreach position to be filled by somebody more qualified, is people are still very anxious. People are almost more anxious now than they've been, because times they are changing, but how are they going to change? And there's still a lot of scary stuff out there. One thing that our staff has noticed across the board is that the patrons that we have not seen at all in a year, you can tell there's a lot of work to be done. So Friday, I'll just give you an example. Friday, I came in here to work and get some work done. I had 4 or 5 people just want to come in and talk. So most of them I talked outside. Some of them had been in here before. The minimum conversation was 25 minutes. People are anxious. This has affected a lot of, they say social isolation is equivalent of 2 packs a day. Is that correct, Bernadette? Do you remember that? It's bad. So let's get people in here. Let's get people socializing, keep people healthy, and move on to a brighter future. All right. Anything on that? Pardon? I think it did. There is actually one more handout I want to give out. Hold on. Yeah. Wow. So every year for town meeting, all the departments have to do a town report. And so I just handed out our 2020 town report. I'll have one for your packet, Bernadette. But I got a little creative and put a COVID virus behind the senior center. So it was really interesting. I found that as I was writing it, I ran into big time writer's block when I hit the COVID closing. I was like, how am I even going to explain what we did? But I think I managed, because I got 3 pages in there after COVID. And then, so if you need some light reading, there's our annual report. All right. I think that's it for me, Jim.
We are looking for a secretary. If anyone's interested, please see it as soon as possible. We still have 1 vacancy on the COA board. So if anyone's interested, please apply. If we don't have any other questions, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn at 10:52.
Excuse me, Mr. Hamel.
Yes.
Hi. Would you like this meeting uploaded to YouTube after you're done?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a motion from Cheryl to adjourn. Do we have a second? Tom seconds it. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Meeting is adjourned.